been a little bit. Good to see you again. So I hope to do more of these videos, and I do them as they come by, whatever seems to fit. And I had an opportunity to drive where I'm at in Detroit down to Dayton, about a 3-hour drive, to see Bill Heeter's art exhibits. If you are unfamiliar with Bill Heeter, I interviewed him on this channel. You can go back and see some of the old videos. But his collection is so large and so awesome that he lends them to museums and art galleries so they have an opportunity to show them to the rest of the world. And at the Dayton Art Institute, I went down for a very special screening. I got to meet Bill Heeter in person, which was cool. And his artwork for The Grinch, the original 1960s cartoon that you watch every Christmas, and animation art from the Simpsons television show were on display. It was so awesome. So I asked Bill, hey, can we just do a quick walkthrough? And it's a multi-room experience. We only stayed in one of the rooms, and we just kind of walked around and looked at some of the collection. So if you're anywhere near Dayton, I would recommend that you go see this for yourself at the Dayton Art Institute. Well worth your time. You'll walk through it 4 times. I walked through it 3 times. I would have done a 4th if I had more time. And I took some photos. I'm going to show that at the end too. And I hope you can enjoy this interview with Bill Heeter.
So fire away with questions if you have any. But
Yeah.
One reason I really like this is I like the setup of the gag. So you've got the beginning where Homer's flying through the air, and then he gets, upside down in the basketball hoop, or obviously Sideshow Bob. And I think you commented earlier in this case where Homer just needs to let go of the candy or the soda.
So being able to find ones that are side by side, did you purchase those together, or were they like over time you found matching ones?
Some of each.
Yeah.
In a lot of cases, I was able to get them both because they were from the same release, but sometimes things pop up a year or 2 later.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like I have in my mind that I have this one. I would love to get the match with that.
Right. And that's got to be hard
sometimes it
sometimes.
works. Oh,
yeah.
It's really hard.
These
over
panoramic ones too are pretty amazing. If you think about, because there's how many cells in something like this, you can kind of see.
Well, yeah, you can see right here.
Yeah.
And on all of these, this cell is actually shifted. It's actually not even at a 90-degree angle.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what that's about. I don't know what that is. On this one, you can see,
Yeah.
again, they're 12-field cells on the pan background.
Yeah.
But gotta love Moe's expression here. I'm big into the expressions of the characters. I really
Yeah.
enjoy that, to see, whether it's frustration or they're having fun or whatever it is,
Yeah.
concentration, whatever it may be. I think it's
Yeah, the lie detector. It's something, it's like, I'm going to go home and ogle the models in the Sears catalog.
yeah.
And the expressions here too of the kids, they made it all that way and the car gets destroyed. You can see it in their faces.
Yep.
And they're still wearing the wigs from
Yeah, you gotta love it.
the wig
Is that
factory.
Nashville, or I can't remember where that was.
Oh, yeah.
But even here, look at Krusty's expression.
Yeah.
So happy
Well, it's interesting too, that might have been on the screen for a quarter of a second.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And, if they held it there for a little bit.
Well, that's part of what I really enjoy is it's to me finding kind of like the perfect image.
Mm-hmm.
And I think what people forget is there are literally hundreds that were involved in making this, but to get Krusty looking like that and the tigers looking like that and that, it's a bit of a needle in a haystack, and that's part of the fun. But I think every collector feels that way. You always want to, I think 2 things. You're always looking for that perfect setup, and at least in my case, you always want to try to improve the collection.
Yeah.
So if I find something like this, but I find the better cell, I'll try to sell the one I have and buy the better one if I can.
What about, so we have Krusty here, goes into hiding, the kids find him. So when you have characters that are different than the way they're normally portrayed on the show, does that appeal to you because it's different?
Love it. I mean, Krusty, this is from Krusty Gets Canceled.
Yeah.
And he goes on a bender and gains all the weight. And I think he's, as I recall, the gag is something like he's taking, he thinks they're diet shakes, but they're protein shakes or something. And he's put on all his weight. That's funny. I mean, look at Krusty as Johnny Cash in the Krusty Prison Special. Love it. Or Krusty posing for trading card photos. I think
Oh, yeah.
Milhouse and Bart are looking through these. I think Krusty's getting kind of lazy these days. And that's the photo.
There's all these gags.
This is just a classic episode
Yeah.
from
Where he joins the clown college, right?
Exactly.
He's like humming and hoeing about it.
Yep.
You know, do I join it? You guys aren't supporting me.
Yeah, and he carves the mashed potatoes into the circus tent. Yeah. This is a great scene. I had, this is, I think, from Bart After Dark or something, where he breaks his leg. So he's up in his room looking at he's all excited because he can watch all the Krusty the Clown episodes.
Right,
now
yeah.
Krusty was into reruns.
Yeah.
And he's got this one where he's wearing the Nehru jacket. But my favorite, and I actually sold it, I'm still kicking myself, is where Krusty's interviewing George Meany.
Yeah.
The AFL-CIO. Just what you want to, just what a kid wants to see, that interview.
What was it? There was the war breaks out on the show. Like he's like, no one will notice it's a rerun. What was the?
Yeah. I don't remember that episode, but yeah, that kind of stuff is just hilarious. Flatulent Fox.
Oh, yeah.
Gotta love it. This is where Chester Lampwick is, in court trying to prove that I think his father, somebody created.
Yeah.
Itchy and Scratchy. One thing I was talking to someone about earlier is I think Itchy and Scratchies are hilarious.
Oh, yeah.
And I love them. I have probably 20 Itchy and Scratchy cells. And a lot of them are diptychs like this, because again, I like to show
Sure.
the gay.
Yeah.
My wife can't stand Itchy and Scratchy.
Really?
Why are you collecting these? I don't understand the humor in it. I think it's hilarious. I like the exaggeration and the spoof aspect.
What do you think about characters that are really on just one episode? Do you like collecting those?
If it's only one episode, I typically don't.
Yeah.
But I love secondary characters. I mean,
yeah.
Whether it's Krusty or Moe or Barney or any of the secondaries, I love them. I don't know if this guy would be a tertiary or whatever comes after tertiary.
And these vertical ones, what do you think of the long vertical?
Yeah, this is actually production background.
Yeah.
So that doesn't even have the actual overlay cell. It's a background. I think it's cool. I hate to say this, I'm pretty anal about this stuff in that I like things very symmetrical.
Yeah.
And this is rare for me because virtually everything I have is exactly, I can tell you it's framed 16 and a quarter by 18 and a half.
Yeah.
It's just what everything is. The diptychs are 16 and a quarter by 33 and a half. This one's rare for me, but I just thought it was such a great scene from an early episode that I made the exception, and I'm glad I did.
Are you a fan of Burns as a character?
Oh, love Mr. Burns. Love him. You gotta love naked Mr. Burns. Especially the spine. Yeah, that's,
Protruding. Yeah.
in this episode, I think, let's see, this cell, I think it might be from the same episode, I'm not sure. But I love the episode where Burns commissions Marge to paint his portrait.
Right.
And somehow at the end of the episode, Burns thanks Marge for the way she painted his genitalia. I'm sure the writer's room had a blast with that one.
The gag, just the idea of using his head as a bongo and the expression on Burns' face.
Yep.
What about,
That's a little bit like the mole face too. The other one that we looked at. That kind
sitting there
of
digging.
hunkered down concentration.
well, that's the face my dog gives when my daughter is harassing my dog. Like, I'm just going to sit here and take it, I guess.
Yeah.
What about the autographed ones? So, do you ever seek those out, or sometimes you just find them like that and you like it?
In this case, I just found it.
Yeah.
And especially from Who Shot Mr. Burns, that made it extra special. But one of the pieces, and it's not in this exhibit, but I'm just thrilled to have, it's a background, and it's of a barbershop called Harry Shearer's.
Oh, that's cool.
And I had a friend, Harry himself was appearing at a book signing in Chicago. And so I sent the cell down to my buddy and said, can you get Harry Shearer to sign this? And he did. So I think the fact that Harry Shearer signed into Harry Shearer's
That's awesome.
is a lot of fun.
Have you ever-
This gotta love the flying monkeys from The Wizard of Oz. And gotta love Mr. Burns, the green piece.
Yeah. Of course, you can see the hand crank where you put the hole in.
Yeah.
See, that's funny. Have you ever had it where maybe someone from the show reached out to you saying, we would love it if you had this in your collection? Like, they're looking for something. Have anyone reached out for you from the show?
I wish.
Yeah.
I wish. I've been fortunate to meet a couple of the directors to
Yeah.
get to know them. I mean, I wouldn't say we're best friends or anything, but they've been wonderful
Yeah.
to get to know. One thing that I'll never forget that was really special to me is was contacted. Julie Kavner was looking for 2 cells from a certain episode to give her 2 sisters. The cells were Patty and Selma. And I happen to have one of those 2 cells.
Oh, okay.
And through Fox, they reached out to me and said, gee, Julie would really like to have this. Would you be willing to part with it? And I thought, if it's that important to her, I mean, I'd love it in my collection, but if it's that important to her, sure.
Yeah.
But I said, there's one caveat. I'd really like her to sign one of my other cells.
Oh, okay.
And she normally doesn't do that.
Right.
It's very rare for Julie. She's an actor, a Broadway actress. She likes to be known as that. So I was able to meet her in person and get that done. And she could not have been more gracious.
Oh, that's great.
And it's actually was fun to give that cell back to her because she appreciated it so much. And she signed my cell, my other cell. I think she actually signed 2 of them. And again, it was so gracious of her, and she was so nice about it. It was
that's
fun.
amazing.
Yeah.
To see all the artwork on the walls like this, is this what your house looks like?
This artwork in my house is in boxes under the bed, in the closet,
Yeah.
up in the attic, down in the basement.
So it's got to be pretty amazing to see it all out.
I love
Yeah,
it.
in the open.
Absolutely love it. No, if I have a dozen pieces of it in my house, that's
Yeah.
probably it. And we have these other collections. I have Roger Rabbit, I have some Chuck Jones art, a little bit of Rocky and Bullwinkle, a lot of the Grinch. So just the Simpsons alone, I don't think I have any up right now because I like to rotate.
Yeah.
But again, to see this kind of presentation, I mean, there are 499 pieces between the Simpsons and Grinch in this collection, or in this exhibition, I should say. And it's just, I love it. I'm proud of it, but I think what Dayton did in the exhibition is just fabulous.
Yeah.
I hope people go see it because I think they'll really get a kick out of it. I do have to point out, I love these couch gags. And again, I like to do diptychs where you've got the beginning of the gag, or a setup, that kind of thing.
Are the couch gags the hardest ones to find?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, in part because there aren't very many of them. In part, I don't think they've released a new one in 10 years.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And I don't know if people realize it, but none of these are the original backgrounds. They're actually recreated backgrounds.
Oh, wow.
The cells are original of the characters, but the backgrounds are all recreated. And it's tough to find people who even do that anymore, who know how to hand paint and ink a cell.
I couldn't tell. So the TV is a cell too? I can't. Where's that part of the? Yeah.
Yeah, the TV, I can't tell in this particular one. It looks like it's on a separate layer.
Yeah.
But in a lot of cases, it's on the background. I mean,
Yeah.
some of them,
yeah.
it just really varies. And
So you have 4 from this one scene here where they're tipping over. That's got to be impossible to try and to find 4.
no,
right?
they're actually 2 different gags.
Oh, these are 2 different ones.
Because see, this is how they lined up. In this case, they fall through the floor.
Oh, I got it. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a third one that I have somewhere where they fall through the back wall. So that's one thing. You know, after 36 seasons, this one's probably not politically correct right now.
Well, you had one couch gag. It had to have been used more than any other couch gag. Is the one where they bring in the Congo line, or not the Congo line, but the
Rockettes.
The Rockettes.
Yeah.
They use that so many times.
Yep.
I thought this has got to be more than any other couch gag. This one here.
Yep.
That would be recognizable because of how frequent they used it.
Yeah, I think in a lot of cases they use gags 2 and 3 times, 4 times.
Yeah.
But now they're getting so elaborate. I think they're just over the top at this point.
Yeah.
I don't know what the timing was of the opening, but maybe 30 seconds or something, 15 seconds. Now it can be like 2 minutes of the whole episode.
Yeah.
It's a bit much. You gotta love the spoof of the old Mickey Mouse cartoon.
Oh, sure. Yes. Just the way they're standing
Yep.
and their eyes and everything.
Yep, and the football, the basketball, Harlem Globetrotters.
Oh, sure.
And then this, if there's anything that belongs in our museum, it's the Escher spoof.
Oh, sure. Well, these are so elaborate. And, it's interesting, too, because on the screen, you're only seeing, I would say 35, 40% of what you can see when you're looking at the whole cell. I mean, you're only looking at the middle part.
Sure. Yeah, that's what's interesting in a lot of these is the director will make the decision he may decide that I only want to show, it's bad to use a couch gag, but he may say, I just want to show that. And they would have actually painted the whole cell, but when it comes to directing the actual episode, he either does a more distant shot or a more close-up shot.
Because I want to say with this one, they only show them really on the couch for the most part. You can kind of see some of them when they're walking in, but you don't see the whole thing. It's amazing.
Yeah. Yep.
Wow.
I just think they're so clever, and I'm actually disappointed that they don't release any couch gags anymore. But again, because all the backgrounds are hand painted, it's tough to find people to do that in this day and age. And I guess theoretically they could just digitally print them. Yeah. But that's not what they choose to do.
So what you're saying is, if I ever see a couch gag, buy it immediately.
Well, I wouldn't go that far, because I've seen some price tags on some of them, and I think there's one on a website now that's $12,500.
Okay, that's a little much for me.
I would say invest that elsewhere.
Yeah, but they're so rare. I mean, sometimes people just got to have it,
Yeah, I think the last original ones that were released were years and years ago, and I think they were $2,200 or $2,400.
Yeah.
But again, I know there was one in an auction recently. I didn't happen to see what that one went for, but they are rare as hen's teeth, so they commanded a high price. So,
how about this couch here? How cool is that?
I think it's pretty amazing, and people love having their photograph taken on the couch.
Oh, sure.
So
I did too.
We had a reception last night of about 200 people here, and the kids in particular made a beeline for this. So I just kind of stood around and took a few photographs. Of course, I charged them for it.
That's right.
But I think one thing we have to do is I have to take this.
Oh, yeah?
And you have to go sit on the couch.
Oh, yeah. This is where Homer will be over on the side.
There we go. Okay, I have to get the Bart above it. There we go. All yours.
It's so great. Yeah. Well, I got to say, this is pretty remarkable to see this in person. And I've seen the pictures and the videos taken some from other exhibits that you've had. To finally have one close enough for me to come and see it in person. It's so great.
Well, we need to get one closer to you. That's great.
Well, that's the thing. You have such a large collection. This is just a portion of it. You have another exhibit going on in Austria right now, which is remarkable. So those exhibits are, finite. They're for a certain amount of time, and then after that, we got to find a way to get you up.
The one in Austria is a year-long exhibit, and it opened in July, and that's unusual for us. We usually do like 4 months, 6 months maybe, and I'm sure that'll happen. The Austrian one will stay in Europe, hopefully, but it'll be shorter exhibits and move around more. And the same in the States. I mean, this one is open through, I think, January 19th at the Dayton Art Institute. And hopefully, it'll move on from there. We don't have it booked yet for the rest of 25.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that...
Let's get some more going.
Yeah. The Grinch we tend to book in advance because people want to slot it seasonally. But the Simpsons can be any time of the year, so...
Yeah. Well, I got to say, you invited me down here for a special preview, and I took the day off of work. I was so excited. I was like, I can't wait.
3 hours.
I drove 3 hours.
3 hours back.
And I got to tell you, it's not only is it remarkable, I'm going to do a second pass through because I want to look at it again.
Sure.
It's so amazing. Thank you so much, Bill. This is fantastic out here in Dayton Art Institute, and this exhibit goes on mid-January, roughly. So we got a couple more months of this. Hopefully someone watching this would make a trip to Dayton and see it for themselves.
I hope so, and I everybody asks me what my favorite cell is, and do you have a favorite child? It's one of those things I can't answer because I really don't, but I'm curious, once you go through the whole thing, you'll have to let me know what your favorite one is.
Okay, that might be a challenge, but how about this? Let me come up with a top 5. And
I didn't agree to that.
I'll tell you.
You pick the top 5, that's fine.
Okay, and I'll send you my top 5. And I got to tell you, you have some fantastic Abe Simpson cells too. Him as a side-alone character is just hilarious. So, very visually appealing. It's going to be impossible to narrow this down to 5, but I'm going to try.
You do it. Thanks.
Yeah.